Welcome to the Dudeology Show, where real dudes discuss cool stories, awesome stuff, and killer gear. We're your hosts, the professors of Dudeology. Make sure to check us out, dudeologyshow.com, at Dudeology Show on your socials, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Welcome to Dudeology. We are back in the studio after a whirlwind on location tour, and it is good to be back in the studio. Thank you for tuning in, whether that's on iHeartRadio, Spotify, iTunes, or YouTube. And real quick, left to right in the studio on your podcast dial, we have the magician of dudeism. Chris, I've got a quarter tank of gas in my new E-Class, but that's okay because I'm still fly.
Ah, yeah.
Gambino.
Hey, did I tell you real quick? We got on Amazon Prime this week. So
we're on Amazon Prime.
Yeah, we're on Amazon Prime.
And that comes with, does that come with the Prime membership?
Comes with the Prime membership. All you gotta do is tell Alexa, Dudeology Show.
There it is. Dudeology Show. Alexa, listen to the Dudeology Show. Yeah. Or just Dudeology. I think Dudeology.
Yeah. Give that a try.
Which is coming right there. Joining us for the first time is Dan Woods, obstacle course race enthusiast and founder of the Hildervat obstacle course race. Dan, welcome, man.
Thank you, guys. Great to be here. Thanks for having me.
And John Richardson, again, welcome. JR, with your annoyingly flowing blonde locks.
God's blessed me in many ways.
I guess so. But thanks, welcome back. And
thanks, good to be here.
Before we get too far, thanks for tuning in again. And by doing so, you are doing your part in advancing the movement. And that is the effort to inspire dudes to do great things and make the world a better place. And unless you've been living under a rock for the last 72 hours, based on the first presidential debate, this country is in dire need of some good dudes. Could you guys agree?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I was legitimately like watching this, and this is we are apolitical here at the Dudeology Show, but we are just, I see something funny, I have to comment on it. But the fact that the two best dudes in this country are up there calling each
clowns.
He goes, well, you're dumb. He's like, well, you're a clown. He's like, well, you're stupid. And he's like, and that was it.
You're not smart. You don't even know what university you went to.
That's kind of the resounding, like, you know, when you talk to anybody, that's how they came off with that debate, right? It's like, these are the best two we got.
Yeah.
You know?
I think even diehard Trump or Biden people are like, I know. You know.
I mean, can't we just get
rough.
Jocko and maybe Dwayne The Rock Johnson to kind of team up?
Somebody. I mean, really, like when you go back to growing up, and you had kind of some statesmen that were making a cordial, I guess, debate. It was a true debate, and you could listen to them. These guys. What's he say? One time he said something about his son. He's like, my son Bo. He goes, no, I don't know. I don't know Bo. The other son. I'm like, it was wacky. It was wacky, but it was a good conversation piece for the kids, and a good conversation around. I told my daughter, she was trying to keep up with it, and I felt bad for her. I said, "It's why you don't draw your moral authority from. We don't depend on that, right? With the government. I mean, you have to, focus on your community, focus on your family, focus on those folks around us." And in the news this morning, right? There's in the White House, there's Trump and the First Lady both got the Rona.
So.
Oh, yeah. That was some news to wake up to.
Well, I think part of the movement is personal responsibility. So It starts with you dudes out there getting after it, being better for your family, for yourself, for those around you. And that starts with personal responsibility.
Yeah, absolutely. And is it kind of a crazy way though with 2020? We talked a couple episodes ago about like the craziness. We're in the home stretch here, and things like this are continuing to happen, and there's a lot of good that came out of it. We all talked last time, Dan, about things that maybe we're doing in 2020, and maybe that we didn't have an opportunity to do in the past, and it can be maybe things that make you dumber, like watching Tiger King, or it could be something that makes you better. Right, like this, maybe spending more time with your family or doing so. Is there anything, Dan, that you kind of have taken from the first 9 months of this year, and that maybe you wouldn't have done in years past?
Well, where do I start, right? I mean, it's been crazy. So, I mean, trying to start an event, right, where a gathering, you want to get as many people together. 2020 was definitely not the year, right? We were really scheduled for May 30th. Sure. That got, thrown out. We've had a couple other dates and other times. Then those all got pushed back. But this one's for real. October 24th is for real, out at Jack's Beach. But my wife and I were talking about that. Actually, this morning we were having coffee. We were talking about that. And she brought up a good point. She said, I think, though, what was happening is we were really kind of getting self-absorbed, and we were putting a lot of our value in sports and a lot of these things, movies, and a lot of entertainment value, and we were together, but we weren't really together. It was really kind of all about individual and.
So you were proximity, close, but there was no personal connection. Is kind of your point.
Where were our values? Right, we were putting a lot of value in a lot of things that really were kind of meaningless, like the outcome of a football game or the new movie that came out, or a lot of stuff that was really kind of self-absorbed, right? And so I think that having this kind of reset, this setback where we're able to kind of circle up with the ones we love the most, our closest family and friends, and have that kind of taken away a little bit. Well, what I'm hoping is when we come back, we have a little bit of a better focus on what we find value in.
Yeah, more of an appreciation. You mentioned Hildervat, and you mentioned, you kind of teased us a little bit on some obstacle course races. But I want to kind of back up a little bit, if that's okay. How did you get into obstacle course racing? Being an enthusiast, being a fan. Tell me about that genesis.
Yeah, so I mean, I can go all the way back. In high school, I was a wrestler. Even before that, I was a competitive swimmer, and I did a couple years of college. Went into the Navy, and I was a rescue swimmer in the Navy, and got out of the Navy, and ran and stayed active, got into triathlons.
Where were you stationed in the Navy?
I was stationed in Mayport, so that's what brought me here. I'm originally from California.
Can I ask a couple questions about rescue swimmers?
That's
pretty badass.
Sure.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
What is that? Is that like a downed pilot? Someone falls off a ship? Like, who are you rescuing as a rescue swimmer?
Yeah, anybody in the water, could be civilians too. So Navy personnel, but I flew in helicopters, and so we jump out of the helicopter and pick them up.
You guys have that basket that will help lift them out of the water.
It's funny. We didn't use the basket that much. It's hard to get somebody in the basket, so mostly it was get a hold of them, secure them, and get them on the harness.
Okay. So what is the like most things?
Coast Guard uses the basket.
Yeah, most things.
The Navy guys, we don't use the basket.
Sure. You don't need the basket. Don't need the basket. We're also out to rough seas too.
Basket's more for like
basket,
land, land rescues.
Okay.
But yeah, you see
that. Being in the military myself, there's always like a test for every school you go to. There's like this is the exam that you have to complete. What was it? Because you obviously got to be a good swimmer.
Yeah.
But what was like the I guess the pinnacle test that you had to complete?
Hardest thing I ever did in my life.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
Yeah. So it's called a multi-rescue, and so they put you in this pool, and the pool has no sides or no bottom. It does, but you can't touch them, right? And the bottom is really deep. It's probably 30 feet deep or so. They put you in a simulated helicopter door, 15 feet up. You jump off, and they have the rotor wash simulating on you. So it's spraying on you. We call it the salmon stream because it's hard to swim against. 3 guys in the water. One's in a raft. One's wrapped in a parachute. And one's free floating. So you're getting kind of the 3 challenges. And so they drop you in, you've got to figure out who's in the most trouble, who you're going to get out first, right? Who's panicking. And what they simulate, these guys, is they simulate a panicked swimmer. Some of them might not be. They might be, come on, we'll get on get me out of here. But others are like, oh, good to see you, right?
And they try to drown down on you. Okay.
So that's one of the things, so you've got to deal with that. And then the other thing you got to deal with is that, amazingly, if one of those parachute shrouds, strings, paracord, we didn't know about paracord, now it's everywhere, right? Because it's so strong. If it's wrapped around equipment or harness, or whatever, it could actually pull the helicopter into the water. If that parachute went upside down and started, if that was wrapped around, it could actually pull it down in. So we had to make sure everything was clear. You can't cut it because then you just made 2 strings, right? So you have a J-hook, but you never cut it because now you got double to deal with.
So you're doing this,
get everything off
afloat, like
you got to go underneath them. And get it all off of them and keep them from flipping and getting underwater. If they flip and get out of your control, you got to clear them again.
And so is this timed, or is it you just have to
until you die?
Until you die. Send another one down.
Now, are you allowed?
We drowned him today, so he didn't pass.
Are you allowed to punch the swimmer and to kind of calm down and?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just calm down. Calm down. Calm down.
I'm not saying that doesn't happen.
I'm
not saying that doesn't happen. Okay. But the guy does outrank you, so there's that. But so it's kind of crazy, and but pretty much the fail is either you panic out or you pass out. What's the
pass fail rate for something like that?
There was, I think, 20 guys in our starting class, and I think 3 or 4 passed with their class. Now, you can roll back.
You can recycle
and roll through there too, but it's probably about 40%.
Wow.
And is it a repeated simulation? So you do this over and over? Or?
You just roll back into the next class, and that's the final. Is you do those 3. You work up to that. Yeah, you work up to that final. That's the fun. So you'll do a number of those before your actual final day, and they put you the whole class in a group, and then just grab you and call you out. But they do stuff to you along the way, like they'll try to knock your fins out of your hand and stuff like that. And if you do, you get to do it without fins.
Wow. And some of these
simulations,
a mask or whatever. Yeah, and so you probably saw some of these simulations. They can be harder than real life.
Right.
It could be a little easier, and I'm not sure, but I would imagine jumping into 10-foot seas on a nor'easter out in the middle of the ocean. That's a really hard thing to simulate, no matter how hard you try.
Yeah, or with a panicked person. Panicked people are strong and they're crazy, and they will pull you down. And so that's where it comes out. They don't do it just to mess with you. They do it because they don't want their swimmer dying. Yeah. Getting pulled down by a panicked guy scratching their eyes or whatever. So you're going to go through. What they do is they're going to go. You may have a final multi that's like a breeze, which was kind of mine. Mine wasn't that particularly hard. Leading up to it was really bad. I'll just tell you one quick story. There's a place to hook up your harness on him and your harness onto the helicopter hook, and you're supposed to hook your harness to him with a quick release on it. So if he goes crazy, something happens, or if there's a shroud on him, we can drop him back out. I hooked him up opposite, and I put the rescuee in the helicopter, and the instructor looks down and he sees the clips on wrong, and he goes and undoes it. I fell back. I fell all the way back, and when I hit the water, the harness came back and smacked me, and I had stitches and a broken nose. So it's like, and then it's like, you're back tomorrow,
Yeah, but pass for the first time go, and you're standing here before.
I rolled back. I rolled back and went through it twice. So. And the workups are twice too. Yes. Twice. And a couple of my buddies went through first time, and I was just like, but some of them rolled through 3 or 4 times. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Sounds like
most people don't go. You do 2 or 3, and you're like, I'm done.
Sounds like a cool gig though, because once you're with your unit, you're kind of with your unit, and you're not really in the fleet, are you? Or you just kind of
it's anything like that. Special forces. Not that that's special forces, but dive school, rescue swimmer school, any of those kind of specialties. You get a lot of camaraderie, and it's a small knit group, and it's a tight club. We're still, a lot of us are still together too. We still go fishing. We fished in Panama last year and stuff like that together.
And how long were you in?
4 years. I did 4, and I was out.
Nice. Yeah. All right, so fast forward then to some. I totally derailed.
That was a long story. I know.
Story though, man. We haven't had a Navy rescue diver on, so you're the first Navy rescue diver, and you're also the first obstacle course race founder that we've had on. So a lot of firsts today at Dudeology.
So back to Hildervat.
Back to Hildervat.
Actually, we were going
how you personally got to be a racer.
So did triathlons for a while. I injured myself. I separated my shoulder and tore a bicep and a pec. So rehabbing back, I started rehabbing back, and a lot of the exercises I was doing, this was really kind of when OCRs were coming on strong, 14, 15, most of 15 hours.
OCR for our listeners who are
obstacle course racing. In general, right? We won't name brands except for Hildervat today. We can. I don't care. Yeah. There's the big brands are out there, but so I rehabbed. I did my first race at the end of 2015 with a group of guys. We worked out Ponte Vedra Gym, which is Ponte Vedra Press Gym. Awesome. Met a bunch of good guys, got into that, and then since then I've done about 50 different races. Yeah.
So in 5 years, 10 a year, averaging 10 a year.
And
like that.
You're talking mud races or
anything I could get my
races.
hands on. Yeah.
There's a lot of different sort of nuances to it.
Now, have you ever done these, John? Have you?
I have done a Warrior Dash.
Okay, that was like
that was like the beginning.
That was like the beginning of
industry.
I've
done. Warrior Dash was fun.
Yeah.
So what I was doing kind of along the way, and I didn't really intend to do this, but as I was doing it, I was picking up things from different races that I liked and things that I didn't like. So, and then somewhere along the way, maybe a year or two into it, I was like, man, I should do my own race because I like Warrior Dash. Super cool party, right? It was wearing the hats, and they're eating the big, chicken turkey legs, and they're drinking out of the big goblets. Super fun. But the race itself was pretty low key. I don't even think they timed it.
It was a 5. Well, it was first. It was a 5.
It's a 5K.
I did one. It was like 09. I think whenever they started.
Super fun obstacles.
Super fun,
yeah,
and
a lot of mud.
And I felt like I don't know, like from I guess the market for OCRs. Like since then, it was like okay, that's nice, and then all of a sudden you started seeing things that were like looked really challenging.
Yeah,
this is a 100-hour. There's a burning bus that you have to jump. I'm like, wow, that's kind of
and got really heavily competitive, right?
Yeah.
So some of these races got so competitive that you kind of took the fun factor out of it, right? And took the kind of bucket list factor out of it, right? It's like, you got to show up and it's like, it's game on, And I saw the triathlon kind of go that way too, it was like really kind of cutthroat and hard. So, in different venues, and different races kind of promote that. So I really wanted to kind of cut the middle. I think, for what I was looking for is to be able to have that competitive wave and then that open wave where you just go have fun, do what you want to do, no penalties, try it again, and then afterwards, win or lose, competitive or open, first race, 50th race, let's have some fun, and
big
get together.
festival.
That community, that camaraderie on all these races is really big, and that's a lot of fun.
I mean, doing hard things is in itself rewarding.
Yeah.
Doing hard things with other people, especially hopefully if it's people you like.
It's like come to life.
Right. Come to life. Yeah. It's kind of that. What is it called? Like the multiplier effect. I think to that fulfillment that you have. So
you're so comfortable in today's society. Like you gotta force yourself into some hard things, and if you can do it with a group of people you like, build some teamwork, camaraderie, and help each other through it. I know certain obstacles are going to be challenging to me that won't be challenging to John, and namely running won't be challenging to John. That obstacle is very challenging,
unless his hair gets in the way.
Yeah, but you're building that teamwork, and you're learning a lot about yourself.
Yeah. It you touched on something, Chris, and it's true. You will find. This what I really like about this venue, what obstacle course, you'll find a weakness. You'll be like, that's I'm not good at that,
Right.
And so I train some young guys and help them and get them going. And I think and that's one of the things that I would say. You attack the weakness, make it your strength. But it'll find it. The way that venue is, you'll find your weakness, whether it's something upper body, some kind of swinging motion, some kind of run, whether it's mountain running. What we're bringing in is a new element, a sand element to it with this beach run. So I'm kind of it's a shout out to you mountain guys, right?
Oh, your little challenge. Maybe a challenge.
Come try us on the sand.
And a little bit of humidity. Even in October, you could it could be 95 degrees.
Conditions could be really gorgeous. They could be really bad.
There could be a 25-mile nor'easter blowing sand in your face. And,
the ocean's a harsh mistress.
I like the focus on the week on maybe the harder or what you're not as good at. Mike Ryan, when he was on the retired trainer, on Sunday night.
He was one of our core guys in the
awesome.
and
he talked about doing some of his Ironmans about that focus on the pain.
Yeah,
this whole notion of forget the pain. He's like actually like drill into it. And think about it. And you've done some painful races, and you're like, thoughts on that? Focusing on pain and drilling down on that. Any mental tips and tricks?
Well, I think the hard activities speak to the human nature and the need to do hard things, right? Like our life is so comfortable, we're seeking out displeasure. Like, could you imagine describing a adventure race or a obstacle course race to somebody like that was during the gold rush where they're going out west for opportunities and they're like just
I do that every day.
Yeah, they're just living it, and you're like, wait, they're like, you chose to do this? Like,
Yeah.
you know, that's how comfortable we've gotten. But
Yeah.
it just speaks to this longing to do hard things and how good those hard things are for you.
And there's a sense of adventure to it. You know, just that you not only want to challenge yourself, but you want to go out and find adventure, going over an obstacle, whether it be a real obstacle out in the woods or an obstacle course race.
Yeah.
So there's something fun about that.
I think it's woven into us, right? We're not that far removed from the hunter-gatherer, right?
No.
So here we are. And so when you do that, it touches back into that. And I you know, I'll go off on a tangent a little bit, but I really think that it's kind of being, society's kind of working the man out of the man, right?
Yeah.
They're kind of, you know,
Or
the
we'd say-
chickification.
We'd say
of
here,
men.
working the dude out of the dude.
Yeah.
This is great, and I'm glad you brought this up, because we may be one soft generation away from being too soft. Like we may be like guys like us sitting around the table right now. It probably one of the biggest, I guess, responsibilities we have as humans, as Americans, is to not let this next generation coming after us soften up, because it could go either way right now. I mean, the simple fact of getting dirty, and this is going to sound crazy because I grew up playing in mud, literally playing in mud puddles, playing in a mud puddle, sure. But the simple fact of getting dirty and getting your hands dirty, and a lot of kids these days, you'll see like, ooh, I don't want to get dirty. Like, I don't want to do it. Like, so this race, like, you're getting dirty, you're getting sweaty, you're getting sand in places you don't. Like sand. You don't want sand, but you're like kind of, you're getting it, and you're getting gritty. Guys, I'll tell you guys probably know this, but we gotta make sure that there's as much of an appreciation to that in our kids and their friends and their kids. That's kind of our biggest responsibility here at Dudeology.
I still use the term rub a little dirt on it.
Rub a little
dirt on it.
But you know, when it started becoming telling, whenever the dad bod movement started to become popular, and people thought, oh, that's okay. Dad bods are great because they're the funny guys who drink a lot and they're lots of fun. And I'm like, no, I don't want to have the dad bod. I don't want to be comfortable with that.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just about aesthetically, you know, being chubby or being fit. It's really more about being able to keep up with my kids. Be able to do adventure races. It's
like
back to mindset, John. You know,
that complacency is what it is.
It is
like the complacency to just be
But
soft.
it's started to turn in the last 20 years. You know, when I was growing up, all the TV shows had, you know, dads who were strong figures in the home, and it started to flip to
Al Bundy.
He might even be stronger than some of the dads.
But now the guy from Modern Family, the kind of goofy Phil Dunphy from Modern Family.
Yeah, but it's kind of flipped where the dad's kind of dumpy, you know, Kevin James, you know, type.
Well, you can't apologize for that, right? I mean, you can't apologize for. I'm not saying that you should be chauvinistic or anything, but I mean, you should be responsible to take care of people that are weaker than you, regardless of gender or anything. But like, there's a responsibility. I remember being like growing up, and I was like, no matter what happens, if I'm with my dad, this is truly what I thought. Some way to work out, like whether it's a flat tire, whether it's hunting, whether it's fishing, whether there's
we'll overcome it.
The house burned, catches fire, like whatever it is, and I want and it's kind of funny because we'll be watching TV with my daughter and be like, Dad, you should do this. It's like American Ninja. I'm like, I love your perception of me, by the way. It's better than my own self perception. But if we could make sure that our grandkids view our kids that way, right? Does that make sense?
I just say, I could totally do that. I've done it.
Probably could.
The reality is he could do it.
You probably could. I was like,
no.
Yes, thank you for thinking I could do that, but I'm going to call my buddy Dan Wilson. He'll do it for me. Right? He'll do it for me. I know we kind of segued into that and kind of back to doing hard things. You were like, man, I love OCRs, obstacle course races, and then at some point you go from loving them to, I think I'm going to put one of these on.
Well, and in the year that many OCRs and mud runs got canceled, especially then, Hildervat is on. For October 24th.
Yeah, we had no choice. We were leading up to it, so we were going.
Were you collecting like various obstacle course items along the way?
Well, something that I learned is that the biggest obstacle to putting on an obstacle race are the obstacles.
The obstacle is the way. Wasn't that what's the book? The book by I can't remember his name, but The obstacle is the way.
So we had this concept and we wanted to get things started, but it's like, where do you even go to get obstacles? Can you rent them? Who sets them up? How do you do all that? So, how does all this happen? And basically, like pretty much anything that's worth doing, right? It's like, I got to do it. I gotta do it. Well, we fell into, so this has been planned out for a few years now. So one of the really cool things too is, I look at this not as like a competitive endeavor, a competitive business, like I win if you lose type thing, right? Mm-hmm. You guys want to do an adventure race? Man, let me promote it, and you promote me, and all boats rise with the tide, right? Let's create win-wins. So I was working with Brian Hess with Swamp Battle, who's awesome. They do a local race here. It's killer. And they were like, yeah, whatever we got, you guys can use to help you guys get started, which was awesome. Greg Coleman with Trinity Fitness, and they were really cool. So, and then I get a text from Brian. He's like, hey, I saw this on one of the websites. These guys are selling their obstacles. These guys out of Houston had the successful race, but for different reasons, they were ready to pack it in. They'd done well, and they were kind of moving on to other things. And so I got in touch with these guys and was able to get these obstacles. And here it is. It's like February, middle of March, when I'm supposed to go get these, and I can't get a flight, Right. So a buddy of mine who's really involved, George Carrasquillo, he and I jumped in the car, went out to Houston and got these obstacles. And George has been awesome. If anybody's been in OCRs, George. He's like the mayor of the Spartan Village, right? I mean, he knows about it. Why Spartan didn't hire him, their loss is my gain. But anyway, so we went out there and we grabbed these obstacles, brought them back here, and now I've got this truck full of trusses that I mean, where do I go from now? So we've been out breaking them down, setting them all up, staging them up, ready to go. So it's really kind of a crazy thing. And there's just a lot involved in putting on a race, but it's been a learning experience.
It's like picking up a peanut and finding an elephant attached.
For sure.
What are some of your key obstacles that the Hildervat will have? And anything special?
So we're gonna have really 8 signature obstacles. The big truss, what you would expect you'd see like on a Ninja Warrior show or on a big race like an OCR World Championship. You're going to see some really good ones. But we're going to have the standards. We're going to have a multi-rig. We're going to have a really nice vertical wall. We're going to have an A-frame cargo. We're going to have monkey bars. And then we also have a quarter pipe, a warp wall.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
nice.
Yeah. So that's really cool with curved trusses underneath. It's really, really awesome. So
how high is it?
That's going to go about 10-12 feet high. So you're going to have to. Distance. I'll put some ropes on it. Some short ropes, so you can grab a rope if you want to, but you're going to have to get up that kind of slippery warp wall and grab on it. You guys could jump up and grab it, but if you can't, you got a rope to do.
Do you have to wear shoes? Because I hate shoes. Do you have to wear shoes to this?
I would recommend it.
Yeah, maybe just.
I'd recommend it.
That's a side note. I hate wearing
If you sign the waiver, I believe.
I really don't.
Legal bill
care. Yeah.
may say that once you sign the waiver, it's up to you, but it does depend.
Yeah, you don't have to wear like the Solomon trail running shoes like you would at a Yeah.
So the beach is the real equalizer, though, right?
I would say the biggest obstacle is going to be the sand.
Are you planning on having them all on the beach, or is it kind of like a route?
Everything's on this one. Everything's going to be on the beach. So future venues, we're going to go off into trails and kind of combine some things. There's some really cool venues that state parks off of beaches that we're looking to do around the state. But this one's going to be pure beach. But one of the things that I like about the beach, it's a little bit different. What the concept is that we would have a destination race where you could come and you're not up in a mountain somewhere. Let me get done with the race and get the heck home.
And you're in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, you're in the middle of nowhere. It's a mud pit,
If you come into Jack's Beach, which by the way, sign up at Hildervat.com. You can still sign up for the race up until right before race day. But Jack's Beach is a great place. There's breweries, restaurants, hotels right on the beach. I mean, you can literally walk out of your hotel, walk to the race.
Come and visit. Just don't necessarily move here, but come and visit. Come here.
It's a little known secret.
Yeah.
Jacksonville Beach, Florida.
It's awesome. October's a good time of year.
It's less known now, though, that you just announced it. But
but
it's all about the race.
It's all about the race.
And October is a great time.
You call someplace paradise, you kiss it goodbye. There you go. Yeah, we lost it. That's it.
Thanks, Chris.
Yeah.
People are starting to hear about Nocatee.
You ruined it. No, it's
there's football. The weather typically is awesome in October. It really is. It's warm enough to go on the beach, but it's not the August Florida where you're just stifling a blanket on you. And why not just come and do? Look, you're gonna go travel. Don't just go sit around, man. Like, come and do something cool and do something badass. That's awesome.
Well, and then you can have all the beer you want afterward. You earned it.
There you go.
You earned it. Have the steak. You did it.
Talk to me a little bit about the after party of the Hildervat.
So, unfortunately, this year I'm working on that. So, the idea, as we were putting this together, I was putting almost as much emphasis or time and effort into the festival and the party. So we've got some good concepts. I'm still trying to push to get, have a pretty good party this year. As of now, I'm going to meet with them because it changed last Friday, right, when Phase 3 came in. So I'm going to find out, exactly where we are with it. But no music, no fun, no nothing for now. We're limited attendance at any one given time at the place. But in the future, and maybe even this one too, we're going to try to get a really good award ceremony. We're giving out good prize money. We're giving out great.
So in this particular inaugural race, there is prize money.
There is prize money.
There's an award ceremony. Talk about the prize money.
So
for those competitors out there who are really, going to run in that 7:30 heat.
Yep, 7:30 heat. The men will start at 7:30. The women will start at 7:45. If you're in the competitive heat and you place first place, you get $500. Second place, $250. Third place, $150. Masters 40 and up, male and female, will also get $150. If you're in that 7:30 and 7:45 and or 7:45 heat, you will also be eligible for a podium in your age group. And the age group start at 14 and go every 5 years.
Yeah.
So 14, I think, is a little bit younger. It's 3 year, and then we go. Right. But because there's a pretty big difference between a 14-year-old and a
So what's the distance?
19-year-old.
Total distance then in the of the race?
It's a 5K.
So eight obstacles.
So those are our 8. We're going to have 4 at the start and 4 at the finish. So those are going to be the big bad boys right there. But then we're going to have a lot of fun, cool stuff that you'll see. Walls, 6-foot walls, 8-foot walls throughout that course.
So about 15 obstacles.
Yeah, 15 obstacles. We'll have sandbag carries. We'll have bucket carries. We'll have.
But the start and finish will be fairly close, so you'll have a nice area for the cheering zone and for photo ops and all that for your Instagram pages.
Really cool. So it's going to be hopefully we'll you kind of walk out and there's the battleground in front of you. As you kind of walk over that the dunes. But one of the reasons we wanted to put the four key obstacles at the start is we're going to have a relay race too, which I haven't seen. I've seen some on TV and stuff like that, but never in a race. So at 10 o'clock, we're going to stop the open heats. We're going to start relay races. So 4-person relays. You'll have 1 person at the start, 1 person at the end of the 4th obstacle. Person will go just like a swim relay. Yeah. Switch timing chip with the 2nd. Go to the 3rd, go to the 4th, anchor comes in, and we'll have teams going against each other in as many waves as we have to. Best time wins.
Just over those 4 obstacles?
Just over those 4 obstacles. It'll be a little under a quarter mile. So they're not off out there. You can see the whole thing going.
That's cool.
They can see each other, right? So you're racing with other teams, and so you got a little risk reward. Am I going to skip that? I'm going to jump for that? Because if you miss and fall, you got to do the obstacle over. You have to complete to get prize.
Dudeology should put a team.
We should. The Dudeology team.
Should. And I'll tell you why you should.
We should sponsor you to race the whole thing.
Love to.
Sponsor.
Yeah.
You'd have to switch with yourself.
Will you wear a Dudeology shirt?
I'll wear whatever you give me.
Oh, look at this guy.
Well, some Dudeology gear, but he could also potentially win some prize money and some Hildervat gear.
Prize money on the relay race, $600 for first place, $400 for second.
Maybe we shouldn't.
Could you do the relay all by yourself? Keep all the money?
Yeah, $600, $400, $200 for first, second, and third. Yeah.
Now I hear you're talking to Ryan Woods. Obviously, a very popular OCR racer. Potential that he might show up.
Well, I'm not talking to Ryan Woods. Ryan, you can call me.
Ryan, we'd like to see you here for the inaugural race.
One of our really good sponsors early on. Been through thick and thin, cancellations, everything is Riverbend CBD, which is awesome, an awesome product and really good. And they have a number of athletes signed. Ryan Woods is one of them. I think he was the first one they signed, which that can kind of tell you how good their product is. I mean, he loves it. We love it. It's fantastic. So we're trying to work with him to get him down here. And so that would be one of the guys you want in your relay race.
Yeah.
If he doesn't form going up, you might want to reach out.
How much do we have to pay that guy to get him on a team with John? Like that. I don't know.
Maybe we could pay him in Dudeology stock.
Yeah.
Ryan, if you're listening,
it's all goodwill. It's all goodwill. A goodwill valuation.
We'll tag him on the social media post for this.
Hey,
try to get his attention.
Pay him a bunch of money. He's worth it. He's worth it.
Now he in the Spartan races, and I'll every time I use another OCR races term, I'll say Hildervat also, but he skips the tire flip, doesn't he? And he just does the burpees because he's not as big of a guy.
I think that
thing's like 400 pounds.
I think that that he may have in the past, but I've seen him flip the tire in West Virginia when he won it. So pretty sure he flipped the tire when he won it.
What's the background of competitive OCR guys? Are they track athletes, CrossFitters, a little bit of everything? They kind of dabbled. Is there like a background that leads itself to be a successful OCR?
Yeah, that's a good question. The cool thing is that you can be good at different things. I mean, I think the key is you got to be a good runner. Mm-hmm. It's a running race at the end of the day. But one of the things that attracted me about it is you do need to be pretty strong. You have to have good upper body strength. So climbers do pretty well too.
Yeah.
But I would say probably mostly similar to your background, where you were a college, collegiate runner. Mm-hmm.
There's nothing that can make up for the speed. I mean,
if you can't run, it doesn't matter how fast you do the obstacles.
I would say for like the Spartan race, the guys that can run the mountains, ascend and descend really well, they have an advantage because their national chair, the world championship is in Lake Tahoe, has been every year, or Vermont or whatever. So the mountain runners kind of have an advantage, but we're kind of even in the scales a little bit.
On the beach,
kind of calling out these,
Well, let me ask you this. You bring up a good point. Because obviously this has grown. OCRs have grown in popularity. Again, we kind of referenced that at the beginning of the last 10, 12, 15 years.
I think it's the fastest. If it's not, it's the fastest growing sport in the world.
Look, if you told me, hey, go run a 5K or go run a 5K with obstacles, the way my brain works, I'm good at focusing for about 45 to 50 seconds at a time. Yeah. So I'm like, perfect. That's because it's constant. Like it's firing those neurons, the different neurons in your brain. But let's say somebody maybe hadn't done an obstacle race before. So they're kind of new to it. Any specific, obviously running and being in good cardiovascular shape is a good kind of starting point. Any like exercises, like mix these kind of exercises or this kind of training in your weekly routine to be best prepared.
Yeah,
and we're not talking competitive. We're just talking about a dude that wants to have fun.
Right. Yeah. So you're like, I'm not frightened off from the race because I feel like I can go do it. So I think that for most people hate running, right? That you mentioned, I mean, that kind of that grueling. I got to get out, and this is my long run day, right? I don't know, run 8 miles. So, but having the obstacles, it really does. It kind of throws that kind of fun factor into it. For me, I love working out that way, where you're not just running all the time. You're lifting. You're doing runs into work, into pull-ups and doing a lot of upper body things. But rope climbs. Bar work, swinging on things, climbing over walls. There's technique to it. So if you can learn that technique, it's going to help you out a whole lot. So if you may be plenty strong, you probably are plenty strong to pull yourself over the wall, but you don't know how to do it. Or the last time you did the rope was in PE at high school, and you hated it then, right? It's like I sucked at it then. But you can learn the
I remember first learning the rope technique and somebody tells you, oh, try the J-hook, and then they show you how to do it, and you're like, all of a sudden I'm flying up the rope.
Yeah, and you're not using all that.
Climb, like I remember in air assault school, it was like, climb that rope, that's the first thing you had to do, and guys, big dudes, were like trying to just go all upper body, and their legs are kind of like hanging, and they're gassed when they get up to the top, because you got another one. A guy like wrap your leg and then just I mean you almost like are
you're doing a crunch on the rope.
You're not even really using your upper body.
You can sit there. That's a great point. And I'll even, as I coach younger guys, a lot of times, these guys will come in and say, well, I can just do this. I'm like, you can do that, but 8 miles in.
For how long?
And there's the rope, and all of a sudden it's like, and you don't want to be there. So you want the technique to where it's like, you don't have to use it because it is. Mm-hmm. And then even if you did.
Ropes are slippery.
Yeah, they're got mud on them. And even if you were able to accomplish that, you've just completely trashed your grip strength and your upper body, and now you got twister or some crazy obstacle right after.
Yeah, I think the grip strength thing is something that you got to work on just to kind of get calluses on your hands.
Plate carries.
Be able to do some pull-ups because there's a lot of hanging obstacles.
Yeah. So there's a great gym in town. Get it. They focus on obstacle course training. Go to a gym that has that in there. A lot of the CrossFit exercises, a lot of the WODs will help you. In that, but I think that you probably should come to get with somebody who is obstacle focused. At least spend a day or an hour or two with them on some obstacles.
Have you ever trained anyone that's like, hey, I want to do this obstacle course race, and we're like, okay, here's what we're going to work on.
I think I could do it, but I don't. I'm curious about what the top guys do, because I think independent, like, hey, if you say I want to climb the rope. I've coached that before in CrossFit. Yeah. If you want to run fast, I coach that all the time. But combining the two, I would just assume you kind of, I'll make up a workout that's going to test that stimulus. Yeah. And I would think that's the most efficient and effective way to train it. But definitively,
I do want to bring up the gym you mentioned, Get It Core Fitness, and give them a shout out because they're doing a really good job here in Jacksonville, Florida. It's I think it's get with 2 T's -it with 2 T's corefitness.com, and they've got this training for obstacle course racing down to a T.
Yeah, and there's some really good guys there. Joe Rivera owns the gym. He does a great job. Bruce Jackson's there, who's one of the guys that we started training with 4 or 5 years ago. These guys are really, really good. I mean, you don't want to meet them on the course. They will smoke you. They're really, really good, but they know their stuff, and it's a really fun place. And that's there's a bunch of really good people out there.
And what John mentioned is exactly what you did at Navy Rescue Swimmer School. They tried to give you the simulation as close as it would be as if you were in that real thing. And it's kind of the old adage, like you're going to train how you fight, or you're going to fight how you train. So you're only going to rise to the level of your preparedness and training in anything in life. You're just not going to magically know how to climb ropes if you've never climbed a rope before.
Yeah.
And you can read all about it, but that's interesting. It's like, hey, you want to do something? Well, then go train to do that thing.
Yeah, exactly. As close as you can. And you mentioned it too, that kind of the pain and kind of a catchphrase or word. I think Ryan Atkins came up with it, one of the OCR guys. Going to the pain cave, right? And you want to be in that. You want to go in the pain cave in training. Because you're going to find that. You're going to be in the cave on race day.
You're going to get there one way or another. You might as well just go
adrenaline, you're going from, you're trying to, so you're going to get there.
And I think in life as a dude, you're either in a trial or you're going to be in a trial. Yeah. So you need to be prepared.
Or you're just coming out of one.
Exactly.
So you got to be prepared in life.
Here it comes again. I've been here. Yeah. We can overcome. We'll get through this.
And isn't it, we probably all had times in our life where we feel like we're in better physical shape or than we were, right? We kind of, oscillate. Like we're people, we're humans. We're gonna have times in our life that I feel like I'm in really good. Maybe I'm feeling like I'm slacking, but I always feel like even the being in physical health, good physical shape helps you deal with like the mental, emotional. You mentioned trial stuff. It just does, and I'm sure there's the physiological or psychological connection. I don't know. You would know probably better than I do about how that equates to one another.
Like the emotional stress of a hard OCR race, like if you can handle that well, you'll handle emotional stress manifested in a life situation. That physiological response is going to be the same.
Yeah, no, I can't. If I stop, I fall. Life falls apart. I've got to work. It affects other areas of your life. Yeah, it's a release.
And these are good things. Things that the Hildervat. It's a good thing to put on the calendar. And say, hey, that's what I'm working towards. Right. I think that's the great thing about races like this, and then hopefully you can grab a couple buddies, or maybe even your spouse if they're into that, or a partner, whatever, and really say, hey, we're gonna train and kind of get towards this.
Get that core group
nice
together.
To have like that.
That accountability, that camaraderie, it's so awesome.
I love the OCR model too, because it's like a fun, tangentially you're working out and getting strength and getting fitness and endurance, but you're also having having a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Like if you were just going to go slave away and like just train for a 5K, like you'll probably miss out some of that fun.
Yeah.
That, like
it's a kid's game, right? Swinging on monkey bars.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, you're simulating going to the playground. Like my girls will just love going to the playground and just swinging around and playing. And like effectively they're doing an OCR race. They're just calling it tag, you know?
Yeah. It's fun going to the playground.
Yeah, getting dirty.
With the kids these days,
that's important.
You're doing monkey bars with them, you know.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I mean, look, you know, it's super fun. I'm super excited. I wanted to have a race. I want to have a successful race. We're just starting out, but I also want to do good. You know, I want to do something that's good, and you know, you got one life, right? And I wanted to kind of, you're going along, and I'm like, let me just kind of switch gears and do something that's awesome. You know,
why? Tell me about the name Hildervat. I see that you have this.
This is a prototype.
Really cool,
This guy's not. This guy didn't make the cut. We changed that a little bit, and the lettering changed a little bit.
Limited edition prototype.
Yeah, you'll see this on eBay for $500.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Tell me about the name.
So Hildervat is originally what we wanted to go with was the Viking race, right? So the problem with Viking is everybody's Viking. Every high school team, there's pro football teams, and so. You know, as you set these things up, you know, you get with attorneys or whatever. They're like, "Yeah, you can't do Viking." You know, someone's gonna think they're going to an NFL game, you know, and so whatever. So, so I said, "Well, we'll just make up a name." So I looked at some Old Norse names, and I looked at them, and I actually put two Old Norse. And the weird thing about the Old Norse language is it's a dead language, so it's kind of like if you looked up Old Norse and you looked up Old Norse, you'd find different words. Right. This is all kind of made up. Yeah. But Hilder is battle, Vat is water, and so it's actually Vater. We took the R because it was easier to say. So Hildervat, water battle.
So would I use it as, hey, are you going to run the Hildervat? Would you say the Hildervat or a Hildervat?
The Hildervat, because it's the only one out there.
I like it though. I think it sounds.
And the cool thing is, if you just Google Hildervat, it's the first thing that's going to come up, and probably the second thing and the third thing, because Hildervat
it's the only thing.
Is the only thing named Hildervat is the race.
That's a nice. That's a nice.
It's going to be good for your search engine optimization, as they say.
Well, you know, I'll get the email.
It is optimized. Hildervat, Ultimate Viking Warrior Obstacle Course Race, and it is the second one. And it's the third one on mudgear.com, and it's the fourth one on Race Place, and it's the fifth one on
Perfect. You guys nailed it.
So when they call me and say, "Hey, you want to spend some money on getting your name at number one?" It's like it's the only.
In fact, I'm going to tell you right now, the entire first page, Google, you want to be first page for a search engine optimization is all you. So so you own the first page of Gilder.
I'm a genius, is basically what I'm saying, and I didn't have anything to do with that. That was my attorney helping me.
We could have started the show, and please don't give the attorneys in general. Like,
he's an awesome guy. That's why I have to, because
Legal Bill's
he's
an awesome
not
guy
like
too.
that.
But he's going to listen to this. And he's going to say, "See, I told you.
Yeah,
you should have more attorneys on."
No.
How do folks get involved? How do they sign up? What's the best way?
So just like the Hildervat.com, HILDERVAT.com. That'll take you to their website, find a race. It's the only one out there is the Jack's Beach race. We'll have more venues coming up, but right now that's it. So it's simple.
And we're recording this on October 2nd. The race is on October 24th.
Yeah, it's coming up.
Saturday.
Yes, it's a Saturday.
And it's in Jacksonville Beach. Easy place to get in and out of airport, drive, a lot of great things to do.
Yeah.
So what everybody I think wants to know is about the Spartan race. We're going to mention it one more time. Has the spear throw.
Yeah.
What does the Hildervat have that's similar?
So this is pretty cool. I'm glad you brought that up. This actually was a concept that we wanted to come up with an axe throw, and so I'm like, how cool would it be to throw an axe, right? We got to throw an axe. You got to have a throw, right? But then I'm like picturing, axes going backwards and knocking people's teeth out and dropping and cutting people's toes off and stuff. So I'm like, so what we did is we actually got some, we got practice throwing axes. They're like a hard plastic rubber. But then I couldn't get them to stick into hay or targets or anything. I just couldn't get them to stick good because of the shape of them and everything too. So I thought, that's really not fair. You could hit this thing 10 times and it might stick twice, Yeah. So I got large metal targets, and when this thing hits it makes a sound. It makes a distinct
so you
sound.
know if you hit it or not.
Yep, you hit that, make the sound, and you run off. So same as like the spear throw, where you throw it, there's a lanyard on it, and you pull it back. Same thing, you'll throw it at that, you'll hit that target.
And does it have the same weight as an axe?
It's not as
Similar
heavy
though,
as
but
it's
the weight
pretty
the same, so
Yeah.
they throw pretty good.
It's technique. If you go to the axe throwing place, like there's the double overhand technique.
Yeah.
Right. Which I mean, you can get some energy. Like
Yeah.
a grown man can get some momentum in there. And then there's, obviously the single hand, and there's like these guys that work at these places are throwing it, side and everything. But that's awesome.
You gotta stick it there. That's why the technique's important. Here, you just gotta be pretty accurate.
So you just gotta hit it.
So if the handle hits it, the top of it hits it, you'll hear the ting.
Yeah.
And if it hits the aluminum, that's a different sound. That's not gonna count. But that plinking target does make.
So go to the axe place. There's several probably in whatever town you're in. You're listening. That's how you get practice at that.
Class Axe is a sponsor. We've been chasing you. You got to call me back, Ashley. Class Axe.
Actually, at Class Axe, if you're listening, give us a call.
Hey, and great play on words. Class Axe, great.
Yeah.
Now, lastly, penalty burpees. What is it? What if you miss an obstacle? You just decided.
What if the axe hits the aluminum?
Yeah. So if the axe hits the aluminum, so we are going to. What we're going to do is we're going to keep it pretty simple with burpees. We may, at this race and others, have running penalties as well. So stay tuned, race day. We'll tell you what it is. But at this point, it'll be more than likely burpees. But we may have some out and back runs. And some soft sand, which would be
awesome. It'd be nice to out and back into the ocean and then get them all wet.
We're gonna get you
sandy,
wet. Yeah,
like
we're gonna get you wet. Yeah,
I think it'll be good. Don't give all the ideas away because you're gonna be out there. You're gonna be out there.
There'll be some surprises.
Hildervat, he's the Dudeology runner. The show.
He's the pro runner. The Dudeology pro team.
We'll see how you do with this thing.
Yeah, we'll give it my best.
I'll bring axes.
This is your interview, basically.
Something else that Chris likes to tell me about is dangerous things in the studio. So we're going to shoot each other with the BB gun, the Red Ryder BB gun. So we have the guy that owns these Christmas. We're going to shoot each other with that. We're not going to do it.
I won't point at it either.
I think maybe we need to throw axes at each other, the plastic ones.
Not this one. Not this train.
No, don't throw that. But there's a lot of things we can do. I typically am told no.
Brandon, I work in my professional career in risk and compliance, and
he doesn't even let you dream.
I have to be the no guy because when I say yes, it means a lot more.
Right, exactly.
To you and to my kids.
Yes, it means a lot more.
Have you guys done the dog collar thing? Where you shot collar and then you turn it up?
I have one. Can we do that?
See how high you can dial it to?
Can we do that? The electric fence? Yeah, I have all that equipment.
You know who needs that is they need that for debates, the presidential debates.
Yes.
Just put collars on them and then they...
Yeah.
See how it comes full circle.
Yeah.
Back to the
Dudeology show.
That's because we're all about good action, right?
I tell you what, if it is good action, the Hildervat is good action. If you sign up for the Hildervat, then you go get a buddy or a workout group or a spouse or one of your kids, right, where the age is appropriate, to sign up for the Hildervat too. You'll be making some great memories. You'll be doing something great for yourself. You'll be doing something for a great organization, and you will be helping advance the movement.
And you're cooped up in the house right now, and you're jonesing for an OCR race.
Pent up demand. Let's go. You got it. We brought it to you.
Practice by go throwing axes.
Let's make this thing huge.
Let's do it. I'm in.
Love it.
You in?
I'm in. It's for you, North Florida. We come on.
All right, we're doing it. All right, check it out at Hildervat.com. That's Hildervat.com. Check it out on Facebook. Just in the little search button. Hildervat, we look forward to seeing you guys out there on October 24th at Jacksonville Beach. Make sure to give us a share on iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or YouTube. And we appreciate everything that all of our listeners and all the gentlemen represented here are doing for the movement. It's time to get after it. Thank you for listening to The Dudeology Show, your spot for cool stories, awesome stuff, and killer gear. Make sure to subscribe to us on your favorite listening platform and follow us on social media at Dudeology Show.